I'm Dave Haggerty. I'm the Vice President of Digital Solutions here at R2I. We are a digital agency, and what we do is we enable companies to create customer experiences that are connected. We use data, content to deliver a personalized experience across all channels, driving results that ultimately lead to affinity, reduction of costs, and increase the revenue. So what do we do on the solutions team? Myself and one of my dear colleagues, Tina Jacobs, and I, we basically sit back and we listen to people articulate typically two things. How do we reduce costs? And how do we meet the KPIs, key performance indicators or business outcomes that we're looking to measure in a way that allows us to use the technology, the people, and the processes we have in an efficient manner. So ultimately, digital solutions, I think, is the wrong term. It should be business solutions. That's really what we do, because ultimately, what are we doing? We're helping them cut costs and accelerate their business outcomes. One of the things that I love the most about working here at R2I is the fact that we get to, on a daily basis, talk with companies about defining the modern business model. How do they become a people-based or customer-centric, partner-centric organization? How do they tie data to an experience on any channel in any language so that they can actually build not only their customer base, but the idea of a customer-centric or people-based approach to build affinity? Because when they do that, they can increase revenue through sales and external opportunities through partnerships. When they don't do that, they get defeated in the battlefield, if you will, by the modern business that is data-driven. Think of Google, think of Amazon, think of Apple. So one of the ways they accelerate their business outcome is starting with the idea of how do we define the challenge that you currently are faced with in your inefficient manner of engaging people in your own definition, right? Not in ours. And then we work with you to define that new business model. And it's typically one where we bring in our credentials as an Adobe partner. And we talk about how when you leverage the Adobe Marketing Cloud, the Adobe Advertising Cloud, the Adobe Creative Cloud, we as thought leaders and consultants can not only take the challenge, but now we can define the way you're going to do business using the technology enablement layer to facilitate that business outcome. So we're working with the IT team. We're trying to reduce the burden that they have placed on them in the effort to support marketing operations as they scale the operation globally, right? They're building websites, they're building landing pages, they're building email campaigns. How do they do all of that without putting too much pressure on the organization? Well, one of the things we do is we sit with the IT and the marketing operations groups, and we show them how we can enable a solid technology foundation. Here at R2I, we bring in architects like Stephen Pfaff and Omar. And what they'll do is they'll look at a lot of the ways things are being leveraged, and we'll define typically a content architecture or a site-based reduction in the sense that you're not talking about websites, you're not talking about content. So you're reducing your websites in the sense of manner of needing to manage them. And what you're managing now are siloed pieces of content that are unique. And that solid foundation allows these tiny pieces of these atomic level pieces of content to be used in any place at any time. So now you have a content foundation, you have a technology enablement layer, and you're starting to build this technology foundation that is now scalable globally. And that's one of the things we bring to the table, starting with that business challenge, people-based marketing, and showing people we can't just jump into building websites or email campaigns to meet that need. What we need to do is look at the technology you have, possibly align that technology so you have a solid technology foundation. So this idea of moving to the cloud, especially around content management, is very much about how do we now, with lessons learned, build a solid technology foundation. And a lot of that comes back for us in the context of, well, content should be built in a way that is used across all channels. And the system should be enabled in a way that they can scale for any language or any geography when required. So we very much start, especially with our architects, Stephen Pfaff and others. We'll look at the technology you currently have, where we can move things to the cloud to reduce cost, and most importantly, build a solid technology foundation so that marketing and technology now working together inside the organization can meet the needs of the organization in general, but more importantly, cut those costs and drive impactful experiences to drive revenue. So people will ask us, well, how do we actually globally scale? How do we actually build channeled agnostic experiences, people-based experiences in any language at any device. And what we begin to show them is you have to have sort of this model. How do you take your data, first, second, and third party? How do you put it into a system so that it knows where that individual is along the journey with you? It's not always transactional. They may not always be ready to buy. But more importantly for your organization, if you can build that affinity and have a predictive model, if you will, where you know that when a visitor arrives, it may not be transactional. So you serve up the content that meets their needs. And that's how we believe organizations are succeeding today. They're connecting the experiences, they're connecting the customer journey, and that's what we do very well. We have our creative team, we have our media team. When you have content that is designed on the right channel, media, and you now drive them to a landing page and you can identify that individual, you now can separate them from the person who just arrived who's looking for a manual because they bought the product yesterday. Knowing when to speak to somebody with the right context is what we do. That delivered, connected experience that's people-based starts context and understanding. We really believe in the idea of compassionate, empathetic marketing. And that's what we strive to do, is enable that connected experience that's people-based, but with an empathetic view. You may not be ready to buy, but you may need some help. How do I do that for you? That's what R2I does every day, helping people take their technology foundation that we referred to and now make it essentially a content factory that is empathy. Given the chance, we love to have conversations around how do we help you deliver results? How do we help you succeed in as a business, as a person, so that you can become a more people-based organization, a much more customer-centric organization in the sense that you do business that's data-driven, it's logical, that the next best action that you've taken in your marketing operations is exactly where you believe someone's going to be. And if not, you can scale back and be where they need you to be. And we do that by, again, delivering solutions on your technology that allow you to build these customer experiences that drive results. I'd love to have a chat. We at R2I love to discuss how can we help you succeed by building a revenue growth model, essentially, using technology to enable that. So with that, I look forward to chatting. And that's why R2I.